Well, America-India relations have been in a bit of a rut for the last 2 or 3 years. Perhaps as a sign of an intent to change, we have two of the most senior, important members of the Obama administration. We have John Kerry, Secretary of State, and Penny Pritzker, Secretary of Commerce. It's great to have you here. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Happy to be here.
Now, you have taken over one of the most important jobs in an administration, following Hillary Clinton's footsteps. What's it like following her footsteps, and what kind of president will she make?
Just a light question.
Just a starter.
Why not throw away? Well, I'm not in politics anymore. I'm Secretary of State. As Hillary said many times, one of the joys of the office is you don't have to answer those political questions. But I'm a great admirer and a great friend of Hillary Clinton's, and I'm honored to follow in her footsteps, which have left big prints for me to try to fill. And you know, who knows what she's going to go on to do, but obviously we all wish her well, whatever it is.
Make a great president?
She's a very capable person, and she has proven in each step of her public life. And I have no doubts, but I'm not supposed to comment on these things.
You said big footsteps. Actually, in India, she's seen a great friend, was seen as a great friend of India. So that's
indeed.
Is that a positive for you?
Well, I've been a great friend of India from the beginning of my Senate career. For years, I came here in the 1990s. I was the first United States senator to bring a trade mission to India.
Right.
And I've come here many times since then. We had a sister state relationship, a sister city relationship with Bangalore.
Well.
Beg your pardon?
You know India well.
Well, I don't know it, you know.
I mean, as much as none of us know it, really.
There, that's a nice admission. I appreciate you saying that.
And you...
But India's fascinating, and we're delighted. Penny and I are really happy to be here, and we want a new relationship. We want to see things move in a very positive way. We're excited about Prime Minister Modi's direction and wanting to provide jobs, the things he wants to do for electricity for the people. And we think there's a lot that the United States and India could work on together, and that's why the Secretary of Commerce is here with me.
We couldn't have a better person than you. You're a billionaire in your own right. You're a marathon runner. You love Sudoku. Which of these three are going to be important in making a deal here? You're a deal maker, obviously. You don't become so successful out in the private sector without knowing how to strike a deal. What attributes of that is you're going to use most in India?
You know, the thing I know about making deals, it starts with relationships.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that's most exciting is the attitude and tone that this new government and that Prime Minister Modi are bringing to the relationship. And that's where John and I have a real opportunity to, as you know, the first senior officials from the Obama administration to be here, to really lay down the predicate for the relationship between our two countries. There's so much opportunity and optimism out there.
And you're an optimist by nature.
I am an optimist by nature. I spent the last couple of days in Mumbai talking with the Indian business leaders, American business leaders, and there's a real belief that we can do good things together that not just benefit the business community and benefit the economy, but benefit the people of both of our countries.
Exactly. So one always, and when you're trying to, as you say, start a new relationship, you want to focus on the positives, but you have to get over a couple of these negatives which are hanging around. For example, the visa issue with Mr. Modi. You refused him a visa, now he's accepted. Do you think that was a big mistake, or is you've done a complete U-turn? So was that a mistake? You can't be right then and now.
Well, it's wrong. Because
you can be right both times.
No, because it wasn't me.
I'm talking about America.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's a very big deal.
Okay, yes.
Different government is a different government, just like it is here. We will welcome Prime Minister Modi, and of course he will get a visa. No questions whatsoever, and we look forward to a terrific meeting with President Obama in September.
And the other government made a mistake, you think?
Look, there's no gain, folks. We're going forward. I don't spend my time going backwards in politics on who made what decision. What I try to do is solve current issues, and Penny and I are here not to look backwards, but to look forwards. So we're here to take the relationship between India and the United States.
I just read between the lines, and you don't have to answer. That was a mistake. Okay, fine.
Again, I'm not going to comment on past.
Fine. Talking about being a deal maker, the WTO has been a bit of an issue. When you come at bang at the deadline. Actually, today's the deadline. What's the problem? From our point of view, India needs food stocks. I'm an agricultural economist. I've studied this. We have volatile monsoons. Sometimes this year's not a very good monsoon. We need stocks. Just let India have food stocks and move ahead. That's the deal. How can food stocks for poor people and to control prices ever hold back such a big agreement?
Well, I think first of all, let's remember we're here working on our bilateral relationship.
Right.
The WTO is a multilateral relationship, and there's absolute understanding that of the challenges in terms of food security that India faces, and we're sympathetic with that. But the membership of the WTO also made a deal. Everybody made a deal in December, acknowledging that the need to work on the food security challenge in India. And so there's an absolute commitment, and as recently as you know, in the last several hours, there's been a real effort to try and find a common ground, because going forward is really in the best interest of all the members of the WTO, and particularly for India. India is a developing country. To have you know, let's remember what the deal's about. The deal's about trade facilitation, making it easier for all of us to do business together.
Everybody wants that. So why not just say have your food stocks? I mean, we need those stocks. As an Indian, where prices shoot up and down depending on the monsoon, which is totally out of our control, let India have food stocks and move on. You're a deal maker.
Well, the agreement reached in December was to take the next 4 years for the entire membership. Remember, it's not a bilateral deal. It's a multilateral deal, meaning all the members have to come together.
I want to know from your field, wouldn't you just say go ahead? If it was just you, if
you
it
know
was
what,
bilateral?
Our negotiators in Geneva have been very creative, and as you said before, I'm an optimist.
And you're getting closer?
I'm hopeful that within the period with today, however one defines today in what some part of the world, that there's common ground that's found.
I wish you were there.
Can I mention one thing about it? In Bali, the part of the agreement was that over the course of these 4 years, food security for India would be protected. So this is not an agreement to the exclusion of food security. It's an agreement which includes food security. So it's important for people to understand that...
what people need to understand, for us, food security, an essential part is food stocks, stockpiling food, because of variations in output. It's such a small thing and it's needed. Why stop such a big deal for that? But anyway, I think you've answered that more or less.
The bottom line is that we are very sensitive to, and we care about, and we will work with India in order to make certain that that's taken care of. The key is don't lose the opportunity.
Exactly.
Right now, India has a 4-year window where it's given a safe harbor. Nothing happens. If they don't sign up and be part of the agreement, they will lose that and then be out of line, either out of line or out of the compliance with the WTO.
Moving on to one more, before I go on to the positives, one more negative that you've come bang in the middle of. This always happens.
Where do you find these things?
You have to just
so
solve
much positive out there.
As Madam Pritzker just said, it's all about your relationship. You have a long relationship with India, and relationships are based on trust. So what's all this snooping all about? That, you know, Snowden wrote about it, Washington Post. Now, are you snooping on the BJP politicians? Are you going to stop snooping from now on? Trust.
We as you know, no intelligence community discusses anything about intelligence matters in public, and we're no different. We just don't discuss those things.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that our President Obama has taken extraordinary steps in order to be open and transparent. He put out an entire new directive with respect to everything the United States does or will engage in. No president has been quite so accountable, self-accountable, and frankly, transparent and open. And we are going to continue to do everything we can to have the best cooperative security relationship with India possible. I had a terrific meeting this morning with your National Security Advisor. We have a huge agenda on counterterrorism.
You met Mr. Jaitley as well?
Yes, we
Any
did.
Headlines from both those meetings?
That they were good.
Anything substantive?
That's a big headline.
Right. Free
Given
and
where you started.
Okay, moving on to believer. I know you're a strong believer, as most people are these days, in the free market, in goods and services, and that's what you're pushing for and aiming at. So there's a lot of puzzlement in India as to when it comes to affecting negatively the United States. You're not so committed to free market, like say the IT sector, visa restrictions and stopping people from going because of political reasons at home. But that's, you can't sacrifice a principle of free market and not give visas. So are you going to give us more visas for our terrific software people, which will help your country?
Well, as you know, the Obama administration and the president himself very much supports comprehensive immigration reform in the United States. In the bill that passed the Senate in the United States, it expands the number of H-1B visas, something we want. We have over 125,000 Indians studying in our universities today, and they're terrific students. We'd like them to stay, if they want to stay in the United States and work in the United States. The Obama administration would. In the Senate bill, it offers those folks who have studied in the United States getting a master's or a PhD in mathematics or engineering or technical fields the right to stay in the United States with a green card. So we would like to see that.
Step forward. But more visas, more people going?
More visa. In the immigration bill that passed the Senate, they would have more green cards, more visas in the H-1B. And so our hope is that our Congress will pass that bill.
Okay, great. You've been so involved in the Middle East. We feel a bit neglected here in Asia, I must be frank, but it's glad that you've come here.
That's because you're not fighting. I mean,
Thank
keep it
goodness,
the way it is, please.
Yeah.
We want you to stay like you are.
But in Gaza now, Israel is your friend, your close ally, but what's being called the disproportionate use of force, does that worry you? Does that make you, children being killed, hundreds of children, schools being bombed? Don't you tell them sometime, hey friend, you're doing yourself damage and doing us damage too? Don't you feel it's disproportionate use of force?
What worries me is that an organization that has been labeled and appropriately identified internationally as a terrorist organization started firing rockets indiscriminately against another country. And no country can sit there and live with tunnels being dug under its border, out of which jump people who are carrying handcuffs and tranquilizer drugs in order to kidnap their citizens and take them back and hold them for ransom. That's not,
that is
no country can support that.
But
so
the
it's very
disproportionate
difficult.
response.
Yeah, but I know.
Do you feel there is disproportionate?
Look, it's a terrible thing when any civilian is killed in any war. And I understand that. I've been to war. I know what happens when civilians get killed. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And there's nobody in Israel who doesn't hate the fact that innocent civilians are caught in this crossfire. But unfortunately, Hamas has a record of also putting civilians into harm's way purposefully as part of an effort. Now, look, I don't want to get caught. What's important here is...
That sounds a bit like when you're bombing a school, you're not putting a citizen in the way.
I don't know who did that.
Right.
And
You
nor
don't
do
know
you.
who did that?
I don't know.
But
I do
whoever
not
did it,
know.
it was wrong.
Of course you don't bomb schools and you don't want children to be hurt. But we also need to know the facts before we start.
Because there's that terrible
here's what we
phrase.
need to do. Let me tell you what's important.
I'll just tell you a terrible phrase.
But let me tell you what's important.
Stuff happens and this is collateral damage.
No,
you don't believe in that. I know your background, you don't believe in that.
I'm not buying into any flip, quick phrases that deal with this.
No, that's
this is not that. This is a terrible situation where we clearly want a ceasefire. Nobody's been working harder than I have to try to find a way towards a ceasefire so that we can actually negotiate the very complicated, long-standing differences and issues that are at stake here.
But
the Palestinians want and deserve a country. And we support a two-state solution. President Obama supports it. We support it. We're working towards that. But the place to work towards it is not on a battlefield. It's at the negotiating table, and that's where we want to go.
But excessive force, is it damaging your cause?
Well, if it is, look.
No, yes or no on that? Excessive force.
I don't know if it's been excessive or not. I can't make that judgment because I don't know what happened. There are allegations of people firing their own rockets and accidentally hitting people and then blaming it on the other side.
Right.
Or there are allegations of people being purposefully put in harm's way. Right. This is not the time for the Secretary of State of the United States to start making those judgments. What we're trying to do is stop the violence, get the people to the table, and negotiate the real solution that once and for all ends this violence going forward.
I want to talk to you again about deal making. Now we have tremendous opportunity on the nuclear front. It was a huge historic deal signed between India and America. But then there's the lawyers of America have taken over. You know, your liability laws. You know, in any deal, never let the lawyers take over. France and Russia are carrying on with these laws. Can't you just take charge and say, lawyers, stand back, we will invest and we will have clean energy, nuclear energy, and America will take the lead?
Well, America is very committed to working with India, not only on the civil nuclear front, but on really growing its energy capacity. We know the development of India depends upon having energy, and it's really important also to us that we help support clean energy development. On the civil nuclear front, you know, our hope is that we can resolve the liability issues so that the companies can move forward. There's certainly a desire by American businesses to work with not just the Indian government, but Indian businesses to see that there's greater energy capacity here in India.
Right. I know you are very short of time. We're completely running out of time. Just an issue that America, President Obama, who said this is going to be the defining relationship of the 21st century, India and America, which is two great democracies. And you are going to support us becoming members of the nuclear supplier group. But that hasn't, are you still supporting India becoming a member of the nuclear supplier group?
We are supporting India, and not only in that, we're supporting India in getting a permanent seat on the UN Security Council.
Great.
We are supporting India in trying to build a great democracy relationship between the United States and India in ways that can define. I mean, if we could do the things we're talking about doing with respect to energy, the environment, innovation, technology, education. These are
all in your heart. I know that
these are all things that are in the history, Indian heart, too. We admire so much. I mean, we are both, I said in a speech I gave in Washington the other day that these things are in the DNA of both of us.
Yes.
And we need to marry that.
And last question for you. You're a person of numbers, so I want a number. India, China. Your trade with China is 500 billion. With India, it's under 100 billion, 95 billion. Where are we going to be 3 years from now? You're going to be here 3 years from now, I hope, sitting in the same chair, and I say, have you met your target? Give us a number.
There's enormous opportunity between our two countries in trade. $96 billion of two-way trade is totally insufficient.
Yes.
We want to do more business here. We want Indian companies doing more business in the United States. And I hope that
Give us a number.
Vice President Biden put the target at 500 billion within the next years. We want to go from 100 to 500.
That's
the quickest first target.
It's in your hands. Thank you very
See,
much
I put the
Thank
weight
you.
on her. Now she's going to.
Yeah, now
I have
you
a
are.
lot of work to do now.
Just a
It's
little bit of work. Yeah.
It's all good.
It's all good. So
Thank you.
both extremely
Excellent.
positive. I think it's a sign of an intent to change, to have a turning point with both of you here in India.
Thank you so
And
much.
good
Thank you.
luck. And,
Thank you very much.
And
Thank
let's
you.
hope the positive energy.
Good luck to all of us.
Yes.
To all of
yes,
us.
Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.